No secret that social media has been dominated by millennials and Gen Zers. But over the last decade, social media platforms have opened their doors to a whole new world for users of all ages.
The more mature folk, as we like
That's
to call
one way
them.
to put
Joining
it,
us this morning with inspirational influencers over 40 who are successfully taking over the social media reins is personal branding expert Jess Ponce. Jess, welcome back to the show.
Hey,
Welcome
thank
back.
you
Great to
very
see
much
you.
for having me back. I appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Absolutely. It's great to see you. Now, you are dealing with two non-influencers over 40, so
Right.
we have questions.
Okay, and I am also one of those mature people. So.
And yet we all look young
Just
still.
barely.
Exactly,
Just barely
exactly. I was
over.
about to say that.
Well,
Yeah.
we talk about the aha moment, apparently, that people over 40 are finally discovering. What is the aha moment?
Well, I think one of the things is that we are finding ourselves in a new way. And I think the aha, and I like to break this down, is an approach, right? Is the first thing. And that's the A, is that we are looking at social media in a completely different way. Not that it's something that you have to do anymore because we are not digital natives, but rather it is something that we can do and we can actually enjoy.
Yeah.
So our approach is different, which also leads to having a sense of humor. So when I started working with different personality brands and also in the media, we had to be perfect, right? It was all about presentation.
Yeah.
It was about being polished.
How you look in that
Right.
little box that you're in right now.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And now that we can have humor and we can also be a little, laugh at ourselves, have jokes about things that we do, and that helps formulate our attitude. So our diverse backgrounds, our experience, also embracing age as something that is positive because we're all diverse, and that's part of what social media is all about, is celebrating that diversity.
Yeah. I do think there is something to be said. I feel more comfortable in my skin now that I'm 48 than I ever have before. My poison of choice is Instagram. My mother, who's 86, still swears by Facebook. She
Yes,
has an
apparently.
Instagram handle, but
That's
she
still-
always tries
Doesn't
to
really-
comment, and it's like a series of letters and emojis. I'm like, what is it? I don't
That's
know.
not working.
I couldn't see. So what are the platforms?
Well, I think what's really interesting about that is that Facebook was such a prominent and still a prominent platform, but a lot of it is reporting. It goes back to that sort of more polished commenting, maybe occasionally posting pictures. But when you have things like Instagram or TikTok, or even Snapchat, which I think will be the next wave, right, that we will get into, is that you really have creators. You have people who are creating content, who are sharing their experience, who are sharing their passion, and also their opinions.
Right.
And so I think that that is what is attractive because it is less polished, mostly.
Yeah. Well, I think it becomes one of these things. Have you seen what so-and-so has done? Have you seen this? Because it's not the ordinary. It's not so polished. It's not so perfect. But the thing that always drives me a little nuts is a lot of the TikTok things, they're like 10 seconds long, 15 seconds, and I sort of walk away with, okay, what just happened?
Yeah, what just happened to me?
Am I really getting something out of that? Can you really use 15 seconds?
Yes. So you have to think about it. Did you smile? Did you have a thought? Or were you just entertained for 15 seconds? And I think that really goes back down to the approach because, here's an example. So when I am coaching people to do TV or other things and I have a keynote speaker, they're like, I can't possibly do a TV segment in 5 minutes, 3 minutes, or
Right.
6 minutes.
Right.
And you guys have experienced this, right? Is that we don't need to have long content anymore.
No, I mean, but I sometimes find it a little extreme. Like either I want more,
Yes.
in most cases,
Right.
which I
Yes.
guess maybe that's the idea.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's that.
Leave them
here's
wanting
your,
more.
Here's your 15-second little clip, and then click on my post, and you'll get the whole long thing.
Or, a big thing is part 2, part
Right.
3. You see
it
that
coming.
all over TikTok, right? And someone's telling a story, and you want to engage more.
Right.
And that's a way to sort of build your following, but also gives people bite sides. Do you want to sit there and waste 2 minutes to find the point? Or are we being trained, in which we are in many ways, to look at the first 15 seconds and say, now I want more?
Right.
Jess, are you finding we're calling it influencers over 40, what seems to be the sweet spot? Because I see a lot of people in their 20s, and it is all about their good looks or about how hard their life is. And those are two universal truths. I mean, listen,
course,
my
humanity.
titis in Puerto Rico, don't tell them they're not hot in their tacos and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But so what seems to be the sweet spot? Because I know social media, there are two sides of that coin. It can be addictive, and we try to keep our kids away from it. But we're also saying, but you can use it as an outlet for creativity.
Well, I think we as consumers of media have become more savvy. So if we are wanting something presentation, if we are wanting a tutorial, then we will go to that and we will look for makeups. You know, there's a big influx of Zoomer men or young men who are doing makeup now.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people, both men and women, who are taking lessons from them. On the flip side, the whole get ready with me, have you seen those? GRWM, right? There's, recently I saw like last week, a couple of older women, you know, who were boomers, who were saying like, I'm going on a date and look at my dress. And literally just combed her hair and went out
and
came.
like, here we are.
Yeah, and came back and said, "Oh, he was a bore."
So you
that's the
take
humor
what's
and the entertaining
right.
part,
You
yeah.
take what's current and you flip it on its head.
Exactly.
So we're talking over 40. Give us an example of somebody
Yes,
who's
please.
really hot that's over 40 right
So
now.
we
an
can start
influencer.
following them.
Old man Steve, right?
Not old man
Yes,
Steve.
old man Steve.
So when we speak about this, I love him because he's just silly, and he reminds me of that woman that I just spoke about, who's like grandmother, and he's like everybody's grandfather.
He's like
right?
83, 82, 83
Yeah,
years old.
and imagine and how much fun he's having, and just seeing this guy enjoying life at any age.
Is he always in this outfit?
I love those.
No,
Or a
there are
version
different
of?
things.
Okay.
Yeah, and what is interesting about him is he used to be on Vine.
Wow.
Oh, Vine was
Wow.
Snapchat before.
It was
or
like this
TikTok
old
before it was-
video sort of platform.
Okay, real
that-
quick in the few seconds we have left, who are the other two influencers?
Okay,
over
so
40?
quickly, when we talk about fashion and being
Yep.
presentational, there are two people, Kayla and Jeanette Kaploum, who I love, who are doing different things, and one of them wants to be your BFF. She's a black woman here, so I think diversity is really key.
She's right here.
Jeanette is a Latina woman who's doing something similar, and so what they're sharing is not only their beauty tips, but their lives, their experiences, their families,
Okay,
and
that
their
I can
attitude.
co-sign too.
They both, I think, they've have experience though in front of the camera before they started this. right?
Exactly,
Yeah,
but that's another point, is that they've transitioned, right? From being sort of perfect and polished
Right.
to now being sort of real and unpolished.
We got to
or
get
gritty.
Rosie and Miriam. We got to
Maybe
media
an honor.
train them, get them in front of the camera.
There you go.
That'll be our side hustle.
Okay.
Jess Bonson,
Jess,
great
thanks
to
so
see
much
you.
Thank you guys. That was fun.
We're gonna